Welcome to Craft Guru Education. Learn chemistry in 3 hours. This is video number 5. In this video, we will learn all about relative atomic mass, relative molecular mass, and relative formula mass. Let me share my screen. In the last video, we learned about nuclear number. Nuclear number is the relative atomic mass of an atom. It is the total number of neutron and proton add together. You can get the information from periodic table. You don't have to memorize the nuclear number or the proton number or the relative atomic mass. In exam, you will be provided with periodic table. In the last video, we also talked about how to calculate the mass for compound. We used the example of calcium chloride. Let's see, calcium, we have the RAM of 40. Chloride, we have the RAM of 35.5. First, step 1, we need to write the correct formula for calcium chloride. CaCl2. Ca is 40. Cl, we have 2 times 35.5. That gives us the total of 111. So the relative formula mass for calcium chloride is 111 gram. I will show you more example of how to do the calculation. In my handout, I have all these examples you can practice, but I'm going to discuss the answer with you in this video. The first question, how many beryllium atoms have the same mass as 2 silver atoms? Let's calculate the mass of 2 silver atoms first. One atom, the mass is 108. So 2 silver atom, we times 2. We have 216 grams. So how many beryllium? 1 beryllium is 9 grams, equals to 1 atom of beryllium. Now 216, how many atoms do we have? So 216 divided by 9. 216 divided by 9. Let's use the calculator. 216 divided by 9. We get 24. So we have 24 atoms of beryllium. In chemistry, normally we use ratio to do calculation. I don't encourage people to remember too many formulas. The fundamental concept is using ratio. By using this concept, you can do a lot of calculation. We will look at other examples, then you understand what I mean. The second example, how many times is the mass of a zinc atom larger than the mass of a helium atom? Zinc is 65, helium is 4. So we are talking about the ratio of zinc to helium. So just use 65 divided by 4. You get, using calculator, divided by 4, 16.25. So zinc is 16.25 times larger than helium. Using ratio, you will be able to do the calculation. Example 3, the relative formula mass of this compound is 142. Calculate the relative atomic mass of element X. Let's assume the mass of the RAM of X is X. We have 2 times of X plus SO4, S is 32. And then we have 4 oxygen times 16. We have 142. Simple algebra. 2x plus 96. You get 142. 2x is 142 minus 96. 2x you get 46. And then x is 46 divided by 2. So the RAM for x is 23. Simple calculation. The fourth example, how many oxygen atoms have the same mass as 3 copper atoms? Talking about oxygen atom, 3 copper atom, 3 times 64, we have 192. So how many oxygen atom? One oxygen atom is 16 gram. 16 gram is 1 oxygen atom. 192 is 192 divided by 16. And you get, using my calculator, 192 divided by 16. It is 12. So we have 12. We need 12 atoms of oxygen. Then only can get the mass of 3 copper atoms. Next, let's look at example number 5. Okay, I put it here. The mass of a sulfur atom is 8 times more than the mass of a helium atom. What is the RAM of sulfur? Let's calculate the mass of helium first. 1 helium is 4. 8 times 8. So sulfur is 32. Calculate the RMM of the following substances, the relative molecular mass. Carbon dioxide, 1 carbon plus 2 oxygen, 2 times 16, 32, 44. So the RMM for carbon dioxide is 44. So try to do for glucose and ethanol. Next, calculate the relative formula mass of the following substance. I'm going to discuss about D. You try to do A, B, C on your own. Okay, D. Sodium, 2 sodium, 2 times 23 plus 1 carbon, 12 plus 3 oxygen, 3 times 16 plus, okay, then the 10, how do we do? So we just put 10 outside, bracket, 2 hydrogen, is, the RAM is 1, so 2 hydrogen is 2 plus oxygen 16, so is 18. So we have 188 plus 48 plus 12 plus 46. 106. So it's 294. Yeah. This is how we do the calculation. Last example. Element Z forms a chloride salt with the formula of ZCl2 and RFM of 95. What is the relative atomic mass of element Z? So Z plus 2 times 35.5, you get 95. Z plus 71, you get 95. So Z is 95 minus 71, which is 24. Okay, this is how we do the calculation. That concludes what is relative atomic mass, relative molecular mass. Next, we look at the concept of mole. Mole is the quantity of a substance containing 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 particles of the substance. For example, if we use daily life example to represent mole, it is like one plate of what food? Let's say one plate of nasi lemak will have 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of rice. Or one plate of char kway teow will have 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of noodles. This is the idea of mole. So if I say 1 mole of sodium, that means it has 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of sodium atom. If I say 1 mole of oxygen gas, now pay attention to oxygen gas. 1 mole of oxygen gas, meaning we have 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of oxygen molecule, talking about the natural appearance of that substance, right? If I say 1 mole of sodium, we know sodium appear as atom, so we say it consists of 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of sodium atom. We write like this. If I say 1 mole of sodium chloride, that means it has 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of sodium chloride ions, both of them ionic compound. It is not 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of sodium. No, it's the whole thing. All right. This is the concept of mole. Just remember, it's like one plate of nasi lemak will have 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of rice, or one plate of noodle will have that amount of noodle. One plate of fried chicken will have that amount of fried chicken. And this 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 is called Avogadro number. Let's look at one example. I will continue to give you more examples so that you get what is the concept of mole. All right. Let's say now I tell you, calculate the number of atoms in 0.5 mole of copper. How would you do the calculation? We know 1 mole is equals to the RAM of that. 1 mole is equals to the natural appearance of that substance. So copper is atom. So 1 mole will have 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of copper atom. Therefore, if 0.5 mole, we use a ratio to do calculation. 0.5 times 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23, you get 3.0. Let me erase this. You get 3.01 times 10 to the power of 23. So the answer is 3.01 times 10 to the power of 23. Atom, because copper is already in the state of atom. Next example, let's say I ask you to calculate. Let me put this here. This become more interesting. 2 moles of hydrogen gas. Okay, we know 1 mole of hydrogen gas consists of 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 of hydrogen gas is H2. Therefore, 2 mole will have 2 times 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 hydrogen molecule. So it's 12.04 times 10 to the power of 23 hydrogen molecule. Now the question is asking about atom. So one hydrogen has got 2 atoms. So this number you still have to times 2. That gives us 24.08 times 10 to the power of 23. Or we summarize, we put it into significant number. Then it becomes 2.408 times 10 to the power of 24 atoms. So this will give you a clear concept of mole. 1 mole of that substance, we talk about the natural appearance of that substance. If it is atom, then atom. If of molecule, then it is molecule. More example. How many moles of carbon dioxide contain 1.806 times 10 to the power of 23 of carbon dioxide molecules? How many moles of carbon dioxide contain this? Okay, we use ratio to do the calculation. 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 is 1 mole. 1.806 times 10 to the power of 23 is how many mole? We use this one, divide this one, times this one. This is how we do ratio. So 1.806 divided by 1.806 using calculator divided by 6.02, we get 0.3. So it's 0.3 mole. Okay, next we have 0.5 mole of magnesium chloride are dissolved in water. How many ions are present in the solution form? 0.5 mole of magnesium, we just ignore whether it is dissolved in water or not. So 0.5 mole, 1 mole has 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23. 0.5 mole will have, divided by 2, 3.01 times 10 to the power of 23 of magnesium chloride, MgCl2. So 1 MgCl2 has 3 ions. Therefore, this number of magnesium chloride will have 3 times 3.01 times 10 to the power of 23. So the answer is, ignore this, we'll have 9.03 times 10 to the power of 23 ions, number of ions. What is the mass of 1.2 moles of sodium hydroxide? The mass, 1.2 mole. Let's calculate the mass for sodium hydroxide first. Sodium is, the formula is important. Sodium 23, 1 oxygen, 1 hydrogen. So it's 40. 1 mole is 40 gram. 1.2 mole, we use ratio method. This one divide this one times this one. So 1.2 divided by 1 is 1.2 times 40. So it's 48 gram. How many moles of molecules are there in 450 grams of water? Water is already molecule, so we just need to calculate the mass first. H2O, the mass is 2 plus 16, we have 18. So 18 gram is 1 mole. 450, again we use ratio method. This one divided by this one times this one. 450 divided by 18. Use calculator. 450 divided by 18. We have 480 divided by 18. We have 25 mole. So the answer is 25 mole. Alright, so this is how we do all the calculation. Use the ratio. I hope you can try to do these 3 exercises, and we shall discuss the answer for these 3 examples in the next video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this channel if you like our video. In video 6, which is our last video, we will cover the calculation of mole or all the calculation involved in chemical equation. That will conclude the fundamental concept of chemistry. See you in the next video.